Wait, hold on. Isn't Leaflit like pushing 120? Or am I wrong?
USA's second event, journalist Jonathan Cho was attacked by Antifa.
She is not far right. I said that she's far right, so therefore she's now far right. Okay.
And even ran at Katie Davis courts as well.
Oh my god.
I'm not touching you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Antifa
For which the
bunny.
police complained about her.
Make a choice now.
Whoa.
Is this the lolly you protect? No, she... I disavow this lolly, okay? I disavow this lolly, alright? Disavow. Okay? I only accept lollies that are not far right, like this one, okay?
Coming out here and putting officers in this situation. We need to stop.
Okay.
Although they eventually did make a few
Uh-huh.
arrests, it really seems like the police were reluctant to actually
Dude, these guys are, dude, they're like LARPing, what was that game? The Division.
Dude, I swear to God, like, Decoy Voice's name is so, like... I feel like it's so apt for him, isn't it? Like, Decoy Voice. Like... His name is Decoy Voice. Bro. Because he forces his voice to sound deeper. I get it now. His name is Decoy Voice because he forces his voice to sound deeper. It's because he pretends to have a deeper voice. I get it.
They
Okay, I
look like they're
understand.
LARPing the Division.
arrest anybody, as being in a deep
Hiding in
blue
plain
city like
sight.
Seattle,
Fucking
I
hell.
don't necessarily blame them, as the city's mayor made this much worse himself, because what was initially a Christian prayer rally got labeled as fascist family values,
Wait,
and
what?
now the feds actually had to step in, as on May 24th, May Day USA held a Christian concert for Hands Off Our Kids, until massive amounts of protesters lined up to protest against the Christians,
Uh-huh.
even throwing water balloons filled with likely not water. So eventually Seattle PD
She's a terrible React streamer, XQC level. No, not XQC, okay? At least XQC tries to give commentary, okay? She has asmongold levels of reactor cringe, alright? Because you just notice she does the same things. Uh-huh, man. Yeah. Like she tries to appeal to asmongold's audience.
had to move in,
Mhm.
making several arrests.
These militants, Antifa militants, being arrested and put in the wagon. These are
But apparently the mayor didn't
Okay.
like that, as his official statement labeled it a extreme right-wing rally,
Okay.
saying Seattle is proud
Just not even trying.
of its reputation, but the far-right rally held here is opposed to our city's values, and he's grateful for those who make their voices heard without
Wait, hold up. Beliefs that are inherently opposed to the city's values. So, like, what are those? So, I guess you can't have Christian beliefs and...
Oh, this is about the Seattle protests. Okay. Yeah. Basically, wait, no, sorry. Wrong protest. I'm thinking of another one. Never mind.
in Seattle.
our city's values, and he's
Okay.
grateful for those who make their voices heard without resorting to violence in the face of extreme right-wing national effort. It's almost like the mayor purposely ignored what actually happened and just wrote what he wanted to be true,
yeah,
as
what?
apparently it doesn't matter if journalists like Cho or Davis Court provide you 4K evidence of violence, they're just gonna hunker down with their fiery but mostly peaceful narrative. As Cho's show points out, the media tried to do it again, where the Daily Mail
Oh, right. I think it's like actual far right, like Christian nationalist people who are like making like anti-trans like message for, and then they went to like the gayest part in Seattle to do their fucking protest, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. By the way, these people are like Westboro Baptist Church level people, where all they do is that they go to like the most liberal, left-leaning places in order to cause drama. All right, yeah. And then there was like a bunch of counter protesters, and like, not gonna lie, all right, obviously they're gonna be a bunch of cringe lefties, right? Because they're counter protesters. So they're probably gonna be like Antifa and shit. But like the thing is like, bro, they're like asking for it at this point. Like, I'm sorry, what do you expect? I'm sorry, I'm just like, isn't it just such a right-leaning thing to just like say, hey, by the way, I think you're just getting what you're asking for, right? But yeah, whatever.
Mail reported it as, where the Daily Mail reported it as Christian prayer rally attacked by mob, while the Seattle Times said 23 arrests at fascist.
It was not, it was just a bunch of old Christian people protesting against trans children. Yeah, they're trying to shit stir, obviously, right? The fuck? How does that change any of it?
Fascist
Family values protest,
What the
oddly
fuck?
omitting who was attacked.
Wait, what was this rally about? Was it basically stop transing the kids rally?
And who in the religious aspect of the story, as it was a Christian concert saying leave the kids alone, with plenty of kids in attendance, getting mobbed by a group ironically carrying signs saying no hate in our neighborhood, and choose love, stand with us, or love thy neighbor, and stop far-right violence.
And then they were the ones being violent. The comedy is
Yeah.
it just writes itself.
It's almost like they label anything they don't like as far-right or fascist just so they can justify attacking it. As it got so bad,
Is it not? I will, actually. Giga Chad, I will.
Seattle even had to deploy their poetry police. I imagine
what?
it's just an acronym, but I equally believe
Wait, what
Seattle
is-
PD
what
would
is the
pilot
poetry
some
police?
slam poetry peace officers,
What?
as they saw the worst sign I've ever seen, saying, I heart boy, and then another word for cat. There's really nowhere in public you should be waving that sign. But this concert has to be the worst.
See, this is the problem I said earlier. If you want to like that in your own private home, whatever. The problem is the problem is degeneracy. It's public degeneracy. It's not.
But what makes
Degeneracy, says the lolly VTuber. What? Degeneracy, says the lolly VTuber. Oh, okay.
this even worse is even after all the arrests, since the mayor seemed to side with the protesters, when Mayday USA called for the mayor to resign 3 days later, the
Look, how could you expect a 130-year-old to have any self-awareness?
same group protested them again.
Hundreds of Christians and their allies went scorched earth on Mayor Bruce Harrell outside Seattle City Hall.
It's time for the mayor to resign!
Pastor Russell Johnson led the charge, demanding an apology or a resignation from Harrell after he labeled their peaceful concert at Cal Anderson Park over the weekend an extreme right-wing rally.
This time feeling bold enough to square up with the police.
This is really great commentary, guys, okay? I'm so glad I'm learning so much from Leaflit, okay? I'm sure Leaflit is, like, you know, educating her audience so much, dude. I feel so educated, okay? I feel like I'm learning so much. All right, from the
Oh dear. The problem is just the open degeneracy. That's the problem. It's like,
dude, I can't tell if she's trolling. The problem is the open degeneracy. What? Dude. What? Why? Dude, why is she doing this? Listen, she just creates, like, inadvertently the funniest content, okay? You know what? Props to Leaflit, okay? She creates the funniest content, okay? But I'm just not sure if it's the kind of funny content that she wants it to be, alright? Bro, what?
guys, I'm starting to get. I'm
What?
starting to think that the normalization of porn was a bad thing. This is very bad.
What? 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 Oh no, somebody stop her. Somebody cut her internet. We're in the timeline where the elected president may be a VTuber. Yes.
Thing.
Now, I don't want to be mean to someone that may be terribly ill.
No, I've always known it. I've always known it, but what I'm
Bro, your VTuber model is in a marriage gown, okay? Your VTuber model is in a marriage gown, all right? I think, okay? It doesn't really matter, all right? But the fact is that clearly you're like, oh, this is anti-degeneracy, oh, whatever. Dude, look at your VTuber model. What? A lolly in the marriage gown. A lolly in a marriage gown. Let's just listen. I have nothing against lollies inherently, okay? Nothing. Literally nothing. Okay, just look. My past is complicated. Okay, let's just put it like that. All right. My dramas are complicated, but the thing is, you know what's not complicated? A lolly in a wedding dress, okay? Or it doesn't matter, okay? It's just I just can't, dude. This is so ridiculous.
I'm starting to turn, I think.
But realistically,
No kidding.
Blue Hat should never feel emboldened.
Well, no, it does. So Training Micro says it has nothing to do with porn. Well, the normalization of porn basically has created a normalization of degeneracy. So, like, basically...
What? You are literally a lolly VTuber. What are you saying? Please, hold. Stop.
When somebody watches porn, it shouldn't be seen as a good thing. You see... That's my point, is that if a person watches porn, I'm not saying that you have to go out there and like talk shit to them and stuff, but I'm saying that it shouldn't be like seen as like a good thing, right? That's what I'm saying. Like the normalization of like degenerate acts as being a good thing, I think is bad. That's it. And guys, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, you know. I'm not saying that I've never done any, I've never even made that claim. But I am I have the presence of mind to know that it's not good. Does that make sense? It's not good for society.
To fight.
She's trolling. She's trolling. I get it. I'm trolled. Very funny, Leaflit. Good job.
That much larger police officer, unless the police officer's boss both publicly endorsed and encouraged it. As we saw earlier, they attacked Jonathan Cho, then went after Katie Davis Court, and then went after other.
Yeah, like for example, having a sign like that in public is it's kind of degenerate, right? Like having like a
Dude, just stop. Just stop. I don't. Okay, stop. All right.
Having like a sign that like specifically says that is degenerate.
Attendees not recording, and even this mother with her kid, which I don't even think I can show on here. So the Seattle police shut down entire sections of the city and actually had to escort the religious group out of the area. But then the Police Officers Guild put out this ominous warning, stating over 700 coppers have fled the city due to lack of action against Antifa criminals who dictate public safety. And now they do not have the staffing to handle these demonstrations that turn into mass arrests, as 1/4 of their remaining officers are eligible to retire, which may lead to even further turnover. And again, it looks like this is all going as planned. The mayor publicly supports the protesters while ignoring the pleas of their police, which gives the activists exactly what they wanted by dismantling law.
Zayla says, I saw this as an openly admission of criminal behavior. So I don't think they meant it in that way. Oh,
Did she ever stream at the same time as asmongold? Otherwise, this is him with a VTuber avatar and a voice changer. Have you ever seen these two in the same room together? Have you ever seen these two in the same VR chat instance together? Have you ever thought about that?
I don't know. I might be a little too generous. I don't think they mean it in that way. I think it's just a term. I don't think they specifically mean like children when they say boy. I'm just trying to be fair. I don't think that's actually what they meant. But I mean, it's possible. It's possible.
law enforcement from within. I just don't think the mayor expected the feds to step in, as Deputy Director Dan Bongino
That's my Oshi, guys. That's my Oshi. He's doing
stated
it.
they will look into the attacks in Seattle, as freedom of religion isn't a suggestion.
Let's go.
With the mayor responding,
Anti-Degeneracy, by the way.
free speech protections are fundamental. We will not shy away from standing up for Seattle residents and values under pressure from the Trump administration. Why does it always seem like the mayor is just the PR department for Antifa? Because I imagine he thinks he's earning favor from these activists, completely oblivious to the fact that at some point he's going to disagree with the mob, and they'll quickly forget all the protection that he once gave them. But I don't feel sorry for Seattle. I'll just
Yeah, assault's not free speech. Yeah, that's true. Sleep it.
say
That's true.
sayonara. Yes, I know that's a Japanese word, but whatever, weebs. I don't need your approval to alliterate. But if you appreciate my concise, light-order commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice.
Touche. Good video. I guess how I feel about this situation, the mayor is clearly taking a stance here, right? Where they're kind of twisting like what actually happened. I mean, we can see here. I mean, maybe I can just look it up. Let me find it here.
Oh, research? Nah, this can't be Asmongold. She's doing research.
Mayday USA, the same religious group that demonstrated in Cal Anderson Park on Saturday, rallied at City Hall to protest Mayor Bruce Harrell after he criticized them this weekend.
That moment when Mayor Harrell decided to release those incendiary.
The thing with the mayor is basically saying that like it doesn't match the values of the city, but then these people are also a part of the city, right? And like it's not like a fringe group, right? Like saying that it's not like we're talking about like the KKK or something, right? It's like a small amount of people. Like this seems like a pretty big movement. But to make a statement,
Wow, you really got him this time. This amazing commentary.
that like that this like a kind of Christian movement doesn't match the values of the city is kind of interesting. Oklahoma education.
How is it not interesting, dude? What the fuck? The mayor is probably a liberal, so obviously liberals are going to be against, like, yeah. I mean, if the city elected a liberal mayor, like, what do you think is the values of the city, right? Seattle, really? Doesn't Seattle get blasted all the time for being a liberal city? You can't just like wield it conveniently now as like a non-liberal city, right? Like I feel like in any other case, Leaflit would be saying that Seattle is a liberal city and be making fun of it. But okay, dude.
And we want to completely have full choice for parents, full education freedom here in Oklahoma. Parents will be in charge of our education system, not these woke teachers unions.
We will say gay. We will say trans. We will use the words that validate our students and their families. Words.
Bro, she is spitting. I'm sorry, I don't know what the idea here is. I like how just because you put like ominous music in the background or something, now you can just paint it as something that's scary or something.
That encourage them to walk in their authenticity, to love themselves fully, to become who they are meant to be.
One of my students felt safe enough to share his pronouns with me once the class.
You're right, okay? I just gotta add like menacing music in the background of every single compilation. You're right, okay? Just gotta add menacing music.
Knew that I knew they all switched pronouns. They're second graders. I saw one part where
I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Kids do not know what they are. I'm sorry. They don't. Kids don't.
Oh, you're right, okay? Kids don't even know that, you know. Kids don't even know whether or not they have ADHD or autism. No, totally not. You can't diagnose a kid with ADHD, by the way. You can't diagnose a kid with autism. Nope. Flawless logic there, dude.
If you are truly pro-trans, wouldn't you want to make sure that the kids, you know, involved, that the people involved are not making a mistake? If you don't care about that, you don't care about the person.
No, clearly I am against parents taking their kids to the doctor. Clearly I'm against that.
That's my point. If you have a friend that tells you that they're trans, you saying, I want you to make sure that you know what you're doing and make sure that this is how you feel. How is that like hating on your friend? How is that being anti-trans? You actually caring that the person is making the right decision for their life and they took enough time to think about it? It'd be the same thing with everything.
Yeah, and that's how being trans is diagnosed. That's how gender dysphoria is diagnosed for children. Isn't that the point?
Like, and it's crazy to me that you can't even criticize this at all. Like, it makes no sense. And again, like with kids, there's an additional layer because kids don't know what they're like. Why? Tell me, Chad, why is there a law that you cannot have sexual relations with a kid? Why is that? Why is that the case? The reason it's the case, the rationale behind it, is that kids can't make their own decisions. Is that not the rationale behind why you can't do that? Is because it is a life-altering decision that children are not capable of making, that kids cannot consent because their brains aren't fully formed yet, right?
Yeah, but the problem is that you're comparing it to something like sex. That's the problem. Not as a medical diagnosis or a medical condition. All right? If you're comparing it to something like sex, of course they can't consent to something like that. Of course. Right? But what we're talking about here is that we're talking about a medical diagnosis, okay? Which you can absolutely put on a kid. Yes.
So why is it in this one case they can choose? Why is it in
By the way, whenever they talk about pedos and whatever, they're like projecting, okay? Listen, I'm just saying maybe it's just a far stretch of me like saying that the lolly VTuber is projecting pedo related things, all right? But you know, maybe it's just the first stretch, okay? Maybe I'm just being a little bit too far, maybe a little bit too, you know, far-fetched here, okay?
this one case they can consent? That's what doesn't fucking make any sense to me. Like, I don't understand like why, like how this is confusing at all, right? I don't understand it. It makes no sense. And again, like when I was a kid, I thought I was a dinosaur, and I thought I was a
When you were a kid, it was 1960s, okay? So
plant at one point. I thought I could photosynthesize, okay, when I was a little kid, okay? So like, what are
damn, you must be a really dumb kid. What the
we
fuck?
talking about here? Like, if a kid tells you, like, if a kid tells you that they're a fucking dolphin, are you gonna like cut their arms off? Like, it doesn't
Wow, this is good faith.
make any sense. Like, it just doesn't. Shai says asking that question would be the same as me asking your friend that getting engaged to marry, if you're sure, if they have thought about it fully. It's not that you disagree with their life or how they're living. It's that you're looking out for them to make sure they're ready for such a life altering decision. Oh my god, thank you, Shai. Exactly my
Trans is not a medical diagnosis. Yeah, I'm referring to gender dysphoria, dude. Gender dysphoria can't be diagnosed on kids. I disagree with that. You can't apply the diagnosis criteria on kids. That's not how it works.
my point.
Okay. Hold on. No, you're wrong. Kids can't be diagnosed with gender dysphoria. I don't know, dude.
A lot of people might not like this. I'm not actually anti-trans. I'm sorry. And like, if you don't like that, then I'm sorry. You know, we're not going to agree on everything. I'm not. I don't hate trans people. I know a lot of people think I do. I don't. My concern is that people are being pushed.
No, okay. At least I'm not saying that, okay? But I think you're cringe, all right?
Into it and being influenced into it when they're not capable of making that decision or ready to make that decision. That's my problem, right? Like, why are we having kids make this decision when they're obviously not capable? In every other case, we say that the child is not capable of making a consenting decision, yet we make an exception for this. It makes no sense. And even when people are adults, even when people, you know,
this is just straight up not true either, dude. Like, we still allow kids to walk home from school alone. We still, like, let them play outside alone, right? They can still make decisions whether or not to buy a fucking ice cream from an ice cream truck, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's the same level as, like, trans children. No one is saying that, okay? But I'm just saying it's not, like, it's not as extreme as you're saying it is, right? Like this is again, this is just more bad faith argumentation, dude.
Oh,
It's-
you can say like, oh, whatever, what Zayla said, what grown adults do with their bodies is their choice. Yes, but it's a friend's job to make sure that they're doing something that is that they're not making these like life altering decisions on a whim in a world where it's encouraged. Do you see my point? That's
By the way, life-altering decisions also mean nothing, okay? People make plenty of life-altering decisions, all right, that have a far more impact than, transgender, whatever the relate fuck. Like, sure, yeah, I'm not going to deny that, being transgender is a huge life-altering decision, right? Like, no one's denying that. Rather, I'm saying that, like, for example, if you choose to go to college, that's a giant life-altering decision. You make that fresh when you're 18 or 17, right? Sometimes before you were even turning into an adult, right? Investing so much time and energy and money into something like college, right? Arguably before you even have like the 18 plus years of age of like being able to choose to do things or whatever the fuck, right? I think there's a lot of things in society that we take as given and we don't really think about, right? As like actual life altering decision making. The moment something else is like big and new and scary and stuff, people like to go like, oh, but that's such a big life altering decision. Well, shit, lots of other things are also big and life and altering, all right? Like, yeah, I'm sorry, like that's just how it is, right? Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Is they're creating this sort of like social pressure to do these things, and it's not a good thing.
The unions apparently are asking you to stop talking about them because they're losing.
That's where I draw the line, is with kids, because it's illogical. It makes no sense. I'm like 100% right in this situation.
Remember,
dude, these are the kinds of people that like do actually believe there's a bunch of parents out there who are like genuinely trying to groom their kids into becoming trans. If you believe that, you're a moron, okay? I'm sorry. Even the most liberal, the most left-leaning liberal parents are those that, like, when it comes to their own kids, all right, they are 100% like not trying to like if their kids like say, oh, I think I'm trans, even the parents are being like, are you sure about this? Like, are you fucking sure about this? I mean, this is a lot of trouble. I mean, we're already short on money, right? Like, I don't want to, I don't want to dedicate too much money to something like this. This seems kind of extreme, right? Like, the thing is that, in real life, it doesn't even play out that way. Just how many parents out there are like actually trying to trans the kids, right? Or whatever the fuck. Oh no, drag queens, fucking read some books at the fucking, local library. Oh no, oh shit. You know what the local kids are thinking? Oh my god, cool clown in dress, okay? That's all they think about it, and then they go off and fuck off somewhere, okay? Alright, they're not gonna be like suddenly because of drag queens like reading books at a library. Oh my god, I'm gonna turn trans now because of this of this gay looking person, this queer is gonna turn me trans. Okay, alright, dude. Just like actual fear mongering like type bullshit, dude. It's just crazy.
And again, guys, maybe technology fixes this down the line, right?
Yeah, meanwhile they want to force religion down the throats of these kids. Like the people who are trying to pass through like Texas legislature on like trying to have the 10 commandments put on the wall of like Texas schools. Like, can you even look at yourself right now? Like, excuse me? Trying to force, oh, what about taking a kid to church? What about taking a kid to church? It's not the same. Hello? You're indoctrinating somebody into religion at an early age where they're susceptible, unable to make life-altering choices? Oh, it's not the same. Church teaches good morals and values and anti-degeneracy. Okay. Alright, dude. My son is 6 and I would love to support, but I wouldn't want them to have to deal with all the issues around being trans, not necessarily being trans itself. Are you a parent? I mean, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the case, right? Lots of liberal parents don't actually want their kids to be trans because it's a lot of hassle. Like, what the fuck? Like, having kids is already like a really like tough and stressful thing, right? Like, why the fuck would you want to put so much more burden on yourself? Like, it's almost as if you can support trans people without supporting grooming your kids. Like, what the fuck? Like, what a crazy, like, way to paint an entire, like, yeah, holy shit. I was worried about them making friends. I think being trans makes that 10 times harder. 100%, dude. I fully support you. Based parent. According to APA Shops is right, gender dysphoria can be diagnosed at any age. Thank you so much, Ari. I appreciate that. Okay.
Let's say that down the line, you could make a time machine and you could teleport into the past and you could teleport into the future, find out what
like she legitimately doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Dude, she's really just be saying stuff for free, isn't she? Like, well, what else can I say?
was like actually the path for that kid, like, you know, obviously like with nobody interfering with.
But like I said, regardless, I support them regardless of what they choose. Well, you know what people would say that you're saying? People would say that you're grooming your kid. All right, Zooey? All right, people would say that you're grooming your kid simply by, you know, assigning a little bit more autonomy to them, you know, than otherwise, like, most religious parents, like, would not, or whatever the fuck, right? Yeah. My only problem with that, my family didn't want my cousin to come out because they didn't want it to be harder for them to have friends. That's fine, okay? I think that if you have concerns for them, that is just simply like, as long as they're not concerned trolling, okay? I think as long as they're not concerned trolling. The thing is that usually when parents say, hey, you know, I'm worried about you not making any friends, they are actually just concerned trolling. At the back of their mind, they're like, oh, I don't want you to be transgender, right? But, you know, yeah.
You know, say you have like a kid that's like 10 years old and then says like, oh yeah, you know, like, you know, I'm trans and I want to transition. And then like you could like time machine 20 years into the future and be like, oh, okay, that's actually what they wanted, like for real. And we can like know that for a fact, then sure. But we don't live in that world. That's my point.
That's right. You know, I had a union leader pull me aside and say, you know, you keep talking about all of our positions and we're losing membership. And I go, well, the truth hurts, doesn't it? In a red state like Oklahoma, most of our teachers have conservative values and they're mortified at the positions you take.
These so-called leaders are taking freedoms away.
They take kids to religious protests, dude. And they're like, oh, you can't like groom kids into what? Taking your kids to religious protests isn't grooming them? I mean, fuck it. I mean, like, dude, you can't have it both ways, right? Like, you literally can have it both ways. Like, lots of these people are hypocrites.
Freedom away from a kindergarten to third grade teacher in Florida to love openly and with pride.
This Supreme Court and significant numbers of radicalized elected officials have walked away from freedom and justice for all toward an extreme, controlling...
Hold on. You probably wouldn't pay for a young teen girl to get a booba surgery even if it allegedly lower her Sudoku rate because she has body dysmorphia? Yes. Yes. That's true.
Discriminatory, exclusionary, misogynistic, homophobic...
Yeah, well, like, you know, fucking insecurities. Well, here's the thing. Here's the deal, all right? Let's just say there's a teenage girl who was depressed, all right? And she really wants, like, breast reduction or breast enlargement in order to not feel suicidal. Well, that's according to, like, medical standards, all right? I'm pretty sure the treatment option for insecurities, for teenage insecurities, are not breast enlargement, like, surgeries, okay? I'm pretty sure the treatment standard for trans kids is, in fact, puberty blockers. So, you know, that's the difference. I go by medical standards, all right? It is what it is.
So all of them.
Racist, cruel,
oh my god.
Corrupt,
all the way. What?
Non-attractive persons.
No.
So don't judge people just because they want to have sex with the body.
Oh my god. Teacher, this is all they do. They fuck with language. They fuck with language that nobody knows what you're talking about. So that they
No, not fucking with language.
can hide it in the shadows. What the fuck?
They like to operate behind closed doors. They like to bull.
No, you should shame people for wanting to do illegal activity. What is this? What is this? You shouldn't shame people. No, you should. You should shame people for wanting to participate in illegal activity. Obviously, like, what are we talking about?
Bully and intimidate lawmakers.
If you get in the way.
It's so funny. It's like, oh, we shouldn't play around with language, and then like she's saying, oh, she's like using the word illegal without like double checking what the law is. It's just, and she's like anti-degeneracy as a lolly VTuber, dude. What?
Just nation, we will get in the way of your election.
They shut down schools. They're pushing this radical gender theory in schools. They are fighting parents on school choice. They're fighting things like transparency in our schools.
You read books, you don't ban them. You teach the truth about our history, you don't deny it. You protect our children's safety, not the gun makers.
I just want to say my position on the whole trans thing is like really fucking moderate. Like I'm really like dead center on that one. Dead centrist on that one. They're gonna call me a fucking transphobe. Watch. Just watch.
The medical system is not puberty blockers, it's psychological approach, then good. Okay, then it's the psychological approach. But if it's extreme enough, then yeah, puberty blockers is the way. The psychological approach is puberty blockers in many cases, is it not? It's not mutually exclusive, is it, right? Because if you're taking medication to mentally improve yourself, that is both, right? Right?
See our children as they are. You don't deny their identities.
And they actually prefer to push books like the Constitution and the Bible out of our schools while injecting books like Genderqueer and Flamer.
Julio says, I hope they do more I hope they do for more content. Julio.
We are chatting with Maya Kobe, and this book, like you said, young.
Oh, don't show it. I don't want to see it. Wait.
Okay, you know what? I agree, okay? She's not moderate, but just simply because I don't think a moderate would have a VTuber, a lolly VTuber, okay? I'm not gonna lie.
Wait.
That's the only reason.
Wait. No. Oh my god. Guys, oh my god, this is so close. They had this book in schools, and it was basically it has very graphic sex scenes in it of yeah. Anyway, so they're against the degeneracy towards kids. So so their mission is not specific.
Is she against like sex education? I wonder if she's against sex education.
It's just anti any degeneracy, basically. So they're like just looking through the video. Like I'm looking through the video right now. They're going through like stuff with like, you know, the like file stuff and you know, like sex books in school.
Because, you know, in 6th grade, we were having sexual education, and you know the way that kids reacted when they saw a penis in the book? We just thought it was funny. And then we moved on with our lives, okay? We weren't groomed. We weren't groomed when we were taught, like, how sex worked, right? We weren't groomed. We just thought it was funny. It was like, haha, 69. Yeah. It's almost as if it really, like, it's just so stupid. I don't know. These people just concern troll. Like, they're just concern troll, dude.
And pronoun, like, trans stuff
true.
with kids. And like, kind of like talking about gender ideology stuff with kids. So they did a little rally here, and then that would be, I guess, would link to the video.
Seattle's mayor seems to
here where the Fed stepped in. So basically, the Seattle mayor basically denounced the people who are against the pedophile, child degeneracy, influencing kids with gender.
Wait. She's denouncing twisting language, right? So this is not twisting language? What?
Here and from here where the Fed stepped in. So basically, the Seattle mayor basically denounced the people who are against the pedophile, child degeneracy, influencing kids with gender ideology, and saying that
right, twisting language. That's what the left does, right?
those people don't stand for the values of Seattle. That's freaking wild. If you're not allowed to show it on Twitch, how come it's allowed in schools? Pretty fucked up. It's an interesting thought, isn't it, AstroGat? That I can't even show it on Twitch. I'll get banned for showing it on Twitch, but then they have it with kids in school. Interesting, huh? Many such cases. I think degeneracy is the problem. I really.
There is no actual evidence for puberty blockers as a safe and optimal treatment. In fact, the clinical research says they should not be used. I thought the clinical research says is like, if you really want to be strict about it, it's like kind of inconclusive, right? Like there are both conflicting reports. Like depending on which report or which piece of evidence you're looking at, it can range all the way from generally not recommended to, yeah, you know what, it has reliable results, right? It really depends on what you're looking at. But it has been a long time since I have looked at that kind of stuff because I have debated puberty blockers before on stream. So it has been a while since I've looked at these papers. But yeah.
Really do. If you care about the kids, you care about your friends, you care about people in the community. It should be in your best interest to make sure they don't make a mistake with these kinds of things because they're gonna say that the effects aren't permanent from like these treatments. They're gonna say that there's no harm involved in it, but there can be if they make a mistake. And we should all be interested, at least, even people who aren't against that stuff necessarily. You should be against it being pushed onto people, that influencing them to do things that are
I'm nowhere as educated, but as far as I understand, doctors say people should go through biological gender puberty. Yeah, generally, yeah, for most people, right? For 99% of the population. But like if you were like diagnosed with gender dysphoria and really you have exhausted all the other like talk therapies and stuff like that, right? And let's just say you're a teenager who also reports like suicidal ideation in that case, then yeah, like I wouldn't see why not for putting them on puberty blockers, right? In cases where, you know, the doctors do like a gender specialist, not a doctor, a gender specialist, right? A doctor with some kind of like gender like knowledge of like these kinds of medicine and gender, whatever the fuck, right? Yeah.
mistakes in their life. These important decisions are something that needs to be taken seriously. It's not the place of a teacher. It's not the place of other students to basically make that decision. Bitch, you're going through the fucking playbook. If anyone is brainwashed, it's you. Are you talking about me? Wait, who are you talking to? Niles, are you talking to me? You know who I mean?
They're probably talking about you, okay? That means nothing. You can see a lot of things, you can show in TV, whatever. I'm catching up. I don't quite get what you're referring to specifically, but yeah.
I don't. That's why I'm asking. Okay, let's talk about it. Bitch, you're going through the fucking playbook. If anyone is brainwashed, it's me. You know what I mean? So you're talking about me. Blue-haired bitch friend of the Nazi. So... Okay, I mean, I'm just gonna ignore that because I don't know... Nazi. Okay. Sure. Define sex ed book. So this book specifically actually was in schools. The book that we're specifically speaking about in question is a book. I can't show it on stream, obviously, but I can tell you the title of it. The title of...
I'm a CRC. I don't know what a CRC is. Meta-analysis is in the level at the top. And it's on the top. Okay. Can you show me the article you're looking at or whatever research you're looking at, please?
It is genderqueer. And this book specifically has had a lot of controversy around it because it's had a lot of controversy around it because it was found in school libraries. Make a point that like we can talk about. What do you disagree with me about? And like this part again, this just makes you look crazy. If what I'm saying is unreasonable, let's talk about it. Permaban. Get the fuck out of here. If you're gonna like say stuff like this, don't be a bitch. You're calling me a bitch, but then you leave the instant you have any pushback. It's cringe. It's cringe and you make yourself look like a retard. Especially coming in and out if you're saying out-of-pocket stuff at Leaflit. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. No, it's fine. You can disagree with me. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm fine with people disagreeing with me. It's just like if you're gonna make a bold claim like that, then like at least have some thought behind it.
I don't know. The first link, literally the first link that I see, okay? Literally the first link that I see at the very top, okay? We're not even talking about like the 5th Google search page. For youth who identify as transgender, this is from a .gov page, by the way. For youth who identify as transgender or are unsure and wish to explore possibilities before the development of permanent secondary sex characteristics, use of a gonadotropin, releasing analog, is a key medical option, sometimes colloquially called puberty blockers. They have been used safely for decades in children with precocious puberty, endometriosis, among other medical indications. So basically talking about things that are other than being transgender, right? Probably stuff that is like other weird hormone disorders, I'm guessing. Multiple professional societies now endorse pubertal blockade for youth with gender dysphoria. Okay. Of recent, use of GnRHA has received attention due to legislative concerns regarding the medical and surgical management of transgender youth, including criminalizing the provision of this care in some states. Without evidence, there has been the assumption circulating that GnRHA treatment leads to increased ultimate use of gender-affirming therapy, GAT, in transgender youth, and the prescription of GnRHA inappropriately advances the decision to start GAT. A study in this issue of JAMA Network Open provides data to the contrary, that this therapy can be offered both for mental health and cosmetic benefits without the concern of increasing the subsequent use of GAT. An understanding of the medical management of a transgender child or adolescent is needed to appreciate the issues at hand. Gurnha is more potent than the native Gurnh and produces initial stimulation of pituitary gonadotropes. Medical term, don't care. Okay. Through a retrospective, Nose and the colleagues explored the blah blah data. Okay. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe. But the first link that I literally pull up from the very first thing from the Google search, all right, about the effectiveness of whatever the fuck. I mean, you can argue that Google is trying to, indoctrinate the children or whatever, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
The reason I say get the fuck out is it's like, what are you doing?
Yikes.
To be honest, I'm being really nice and I'm doing them a favor by banning them, because people here won't have to see that their side is like absolutely retarded. They would not extend the same courtesy to you. Yeah, but I'm not a fucking animal.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight.
But you call these people like pedos. You call these people pedos. Like, what the fuck? How could you like okay. All right, man. Like, the thing is that you can't just play nice. You can't just pretend that you're actually playing nice and trying to get people to play with your standards when you're calling like the other side a bunch of pedophiles. Like, what the fuck?